Welcome to the second Grudge of Drong battle between myself and Adam. This scenario is quite complicated. There's a lot of parameters in it that we've had to accommodate. The forces are very, very restrictive, but it forms part of the overall scenario. So we're following it to the letter. We're doing everything that's in the scenario itself. All the scenery has been constructed. So the new piece of scenery here is the Dwarf Road, and this one is called the Ambush. The ambush on the Dwarf Road. So this tabletop here, this is the Chasm of Doom. Anyone who flees over this table edge drops and disappears forever, never even to find their corpse again. This is the ancient Dwarf Road, which has been built, is perfectly dead straight. All of the damage to it has obviously been by other races. It didn't damage on its own. And the dwarves are marching down their road. Why they built a road next to a bottomless chasm, there's probably a reason for that as well. We never find that one out. So the dwarves have to deploy 12 inches from this front, 12 inches from that table edge, and 12 inches to here, but put them on the road. I could deploy them off the road, but it seems to go against the grain of the ambush and the scenario itself to deploy off the road. The elf deployment zone is that's about 2 foot of the 4 foot table, and the elf deployment zone is between the wood and just on the other side of the hill. And they have to, you can actually deploy on top of the hill. You want to change that? Because you can, if you look on the...
yeah, I might stick my dudes on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it might change from this in a second. So I have to deploy we'll give you the parameters of the scenario. So for this scenario, I have to get the Runesmith off the table edge, or I have to win the battle inside 5 turns. So score more points than the elf. Or I can draw. If I draw this one, I win. The elf has to stop the Runesmith, either make him flee off the table, kill him with murdered type scenarios, or win the battle, and then it's considered that he leaves and doesn't join the rest of the grudge. And elves automatically have the first turn, 5 turns, I think I mentioned that. So there's a sudden death victory condition if the Runesmith is slain, plunges to his death. And then we'll add up the victory points at the end. There's 2 special magic cards that go with the scenario. The first one, the elf mage, who's in the elf spearman for this battle, is armed with the black amulet. It's not a weapon, but it acts like one. So there's a 4+ ward save, and he rebounds wounds. If he saves a wound with the ward save, he rebounds the wound. And the dwarf has got another special magic item which erects a wall of flame, which should be good. And we're going to play the scenario and see how it goes and let you know who wins and who loses.
Right, so we've just done turn 1, very quick. My wizard has left the unit of swordmasters because he's not going into combat. Swordmasters have moved up. Eagles have deployed over here to try and stop or harass the crossbows from leaving the table edge. The other eagles popped over there in case the slayers do something crazy. And then basically the Shadow Warriors on top of the hill shot some bows at the slayers and killed 3 of them. It was quite an eventful turn. That's it.
For the dwarf first turn, sort of umming and ahhing whether to slowly resolutely march off the table or turn and fight and try and win the game and win that way. So I've plumped for just hightailing it 6 inches a turn towards the table edge to get the unit off. And the Slayers have moved forward. It looks like they're in the same spot. They've moved and started to wheel. And the idea is to try to get them to block the sword masters attacking the crossbows in the side. My magic item puts a wall of fire in front of me, so I can't use that, and I can't fire to the side with crossbows. I don't think you can fire to the side with bows either. You have to have the frontage. So I'd have to turn. If I turn, then I committed to fight. So I'm going to try to undwarf thing and run away. I'm going to get lambasted for that, and rightly so.
Right. Right. So end of high elf turn 2. Shadow warriors stay put on the hill doing their thing. The sword masters have moved up, ready for a charge, and the eagles have sort of come over here. The eagle on the far side went over to block the Slayers, which he did. He blocked them. So shooting did 0 wounds. Magic is, I don't know. He's a level 3 mage. You can throw 4 dice. Nick's got 5 dispel dice. So unless I roll really good and Nick rolls naff, then nothing's going to happen. But anyway, we'll see what happens. So that's my turn 2. Yep.
So Dwarven turn 2. Adam has mentioned the Slayers charged in and mincemeated up one of the eagles in 1 turn. Even though I rolled badly with my hits, I rolled really well with my wounds, and chopped it down. I figured out if I keep marching, I'm going to get flank charged, and I'd have to survive on a roundabout leadership test of a 4, because crossbows aren't stubborn or anything like that. So they have to fight. I should have done it in the first turn. I've worked that out now. If you do the scenario, fight from the get-go, which was the dwarven thing I should have done. So I've increased my frontage. So when the elves charge in, I should be able to get a lot of shots off the front. And I forgot to do the fire spell. I could have done that.
We can do that.
And remember to use your fire spell if you're playing this scenario.
Right. So high elf turn 3. We charged in over here with 2 eagles and the sword masters. I realised that when I charged in, I had got all very excited and charged both the eagles in, not leaving me anything to try and block the Slayers. But anyway, that's me. I get excited. So magic went off. Thank goodness, with a very high roll. Flames of the Phoenix on the Slayers because the crossbows were in combat. I killed 8 Slayers, I think, with my fire the Phoenix. Shooting from the Shadow Warriors, nothing again. They're just standing on the hill, looking great. And combat was very successful, with causing massive wounds and the dwarves running away into the chasm of doom.
Final wrap up of this scenario. So Flames of the Phoenix, as Adam's touched on, went off on a 20, and I was throwing 5 dispel dice at it because I had to get to a high score, rolled double 1. Even on a dispel, it means 0. I didn't add up to 20 with the 5 dice anyway, so it went off. not too worried. The Slayers are there to try and cushion the passage of the crossbows out. I changed my frontage because I still had 3 ranks, and I put some extra crossbows, so when the swordmasters charged in, I would hopefully take at least a rank off. So I need to get the combat resolution down. So took a flank, took an eagle in the front, took the swordmasters in, did no wounds with my shooting. Adam did average with the swordmasters. They hit well, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, and did 4 wounds. I think they did 4, did 3,
Yeah.
and one of the eagles did 1, so
Yeah,
it took
yeah.
4. The res was just too high, so I did no wounds back, not even any on the eagle. So I was rolling leadership 9 -5 with the combat resolution. So I rolled 7. So I broke, and even with my -1, it was enough to get me off the table edge. So the Runesmith and the crossbows have plunged to their death, thus proving don't build a busy road next to a chasm of doom. That's just bad town planning. And the eagles also would have caught up with them if they'd have been on the table. So each eagle rolled more than the dwarves. The eagles obviously don't die in the chasm of doom. It's not doom if you can fly. So turn 3, the game is over. The scenario game is over. So that's 2 games, 2 losses. For anyone that's going to play this one, turn and fight from turn 1, because you have to remove or start removing models. Present a front with the Slayers if you can, so stuff has to charge the Slayers and charge the crossbows. Maybe even put the Slayers first, but you have to deploy first, so the elf should be able to pick out where to go. Whatever you do, you can't do as badly as I just did, so good luck on the game.